Hey guys, it's Courtney and today I'm going to be doing the opposite book tag. I watched a few of these a couple of days ago and I thought it would be really fun to do. The original video was actually in Portuguese, so I will be leaving a link to that in the description below, and I would also like to tag two of my booktube buddies. The first is Olivia over at Insert Bookish Title, and the second is Sylvia. Her channel is called Sylvia K. I will be leaving a link to both of their channels down in the description below, so please make sure you check them out because they are both really cool. To the tag. Number 1, the first book in your collection and the last book you bought. I've been collecting books for a very long time, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint which book was actually the first in my collection, but I decided to go with Great Tales and Poems by Edgar Allan Poe because this is something that I have always had around. I've had it for about 9 years now. I still can't say for sure that this is the first book in my collection because, like I said, I've been collecting books for a long time. But this is one of the first books. I actually got a lot of books recently, and one of the books that I picked up was Angel Fall by Susan E., and this is about an angel apocalypse, so that sounds really awesome. Number 2, a cheap book and an expensive book. I buy a lot of my books pretty cheap, but the one that I chose is The Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I got this book from the dollar store, so of course it was $1, and this book retails for like $28, so that was a pretty dang good deal. And it's hardcover, and it is signed, so that's awesome. This is so pretty. I love this. The expensive book that I chose is Dreamer's Pool by Juliet Marlier. This book was $20 even on Amazon, and they were having some type of deal where I was able to get it for $15, and honestly, I think that's the most I've spent out of pocket on a single book. Number 3, a book with a male protagonist and a book with a female protagonist. So for a book with a male protagonist, I chose The Last Apprentice by Joseph Delaney. This is a 13-book series, and throughout it we get to watch the main character, Tom Ward, grow into this really awesome supernatural butt kicker, and I just loved him so much. For a book with a female protagonist, I chose Divergent by Veronica Roth. This book was so good, and Tris is such an awesome main character, and she's so relatable. I mean, who doesn't love a relatable female character? Number 4, a book you read fast and a book that took you a long time to read. Shatter Me by Tahada Mafi was a very quick read for me. Although I did have issues with it, I got through this book so stinking fast. Goodreads says that I finished it in 6 days because I forgot to update my reading status, but it actually took me 5 hours to read this book. 5 hours. I gotta get the second book because I want to know what's going on with Warner. I'm not even gonna lie, he's my dude. The book that took me the longest to read, and I mean ever, was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This book took me 2 years to read it, okay? 2 years. And that's crazy. I've never, ever taken 2 years to read a book. I was consistently picking this book up and putting it down, okay? Every time I would read like 1 or 2 pages, something would happen, and I would feel like I need to put the book down again. I tried so hard with this book. I really did. I tried so hard. And it really did have a lot of potential. I mean, look at this cover. The cover is gorgeous. I mean, the idea is great, but it's just too similar to other books, and it was so frustrating. And Mare is such a stupid main character. Gosh, she was annoying. This book took me 2 years, and that is completely ridiculous. I wish that I was able to get through it quicker, but I just wasn't a fan of this book. Number 5, a pretty cover and an ugly cover. Yeah, The Ghost Bride by Young Zi-Chu is seriously one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen in my life. It's so nice. I have to read this book. I'm not attracted to books with ugly covers, so you're not gonna really find any of those on my shelves, but I do have The Winds of Change by Martha Grimes. I don't like this cover at all. A national book and an international book. For a national book, I chose The Ever After Bird by Anne Rinaldi. I actually have a lot of books that were written in America, but I just chose this at random. Plus, it's a really sweet story, and Anne Rinaldi's writing is great, so yeah. For an international book, I chose Inkheart by Cornelia Funke. This book was originally written in German. I haven't read this book yet, but every time I start, I stop in the same place. And usually that means I should just let the book go, but I've heard so many great things about this book. And I loved the movie when I was younger, so I'm probably gonna love the books a lot more. I just gotta give it another chance. Who knows, maybe the next time will be the time that I finally fall into this story. Number 7, a thin book and a thick book. Green Angel by Alice Hoffman is seriously the thinnest book that I have. It's like 116 pages. I have a lot of thick books, but I ended up choosing The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. This book is like 876 pages, so that's a lot. It's probably why I haven't gotten to it yet. Big books are intimidating, but they're nice to hold. That's not weird, is it? Is that weird? Number 8, a fiction book and a nonfiction book. For a fiction book, I chose Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is like one of my most favorite books ever, and it was so good. Oh, Heathcliff. Such a special character. My love for Heathcliff resembles the eternal rocks beneath. I am Heathcliff. He's always, always in my mind. Not as a pleasure, any more than I am always a pleasure to myself, but as my own being. Oh, it's so dramatic. I love it. It's so beautiful and dramatic. I love it so much. Read this book. Read this book. The nonfiction book that I chose was Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand, and this book was so good, you guys. So good. Louis Zamperini's story is just so amazing and so powerful and inspirational. It's so good. Number 9, a very romantic book and an action book. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I don't think a book can have too much romance in it. However, I have read stories where the two characters that are romancing aren't the ones that I want to be together, or characters that I don't think should be together. So the book that I chose is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I really don't want to spoil anything for you guys, so please skip this part if you haven't read this book. I don't like Chaol all that much, okay? I like Dorian. I wanted Selena to be with Dorian. I don't like the fact that a lot of this book had to do with Selena and Chaol together. I knocked off a star for that, and it would have been so much better if it was Dorian instead. Oh, but it wasn't. I mean, it was still good, just too much Chaol for my liking. Sorry. The action book I chose is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. There were some really cool battle scenes in this one. Number 10, a book that made you happy and one that made you sad. Okay, this is my happy book, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book, so special to me. It's so special. It made me so happy. So happy. I loved it so much. It's so good. Oh, and the writing is so beautiful, and it's just everything, and such a beautiful book. I loved this book so much. This book is seriously everything. A book that made me sad was The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I actually did a buddy reading for this one with Sylvia Kay, and so I wasn't completely alone in my sadness at the time, which is always good when you're dealing with emotions, but this book left my heart in literal pieces. I mean, seriously, I was so sad after reading this. I mean, for days I could not stop thinking about it. And even now, thinking about it, I just, oh gosh, this book was so sad. But it was such a beautiful story. The writing was beautiful. Oh my gosh, this book is so good. I'm getting emotional just talking about it. My gosh, it's crazy. But The Book Thief was a really good book, as heartbreaking as it is. If you haven't read it yet, please read it, because it's just one of those books I feel like everyone should read, and it has a really great message. That was all the questions in the opposite book tag. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. And if any of you guys want to do this tag, then hey, please consider yourselves tagged. Yeah. See you guys next time.